And joining us now to discuss some of those broader questions around the farmers' protest, which go beyond just the politics of it, we have with us Mr. Ashok Gulati, a distinguished agricultural economist and professor at the Indian Council for Research on International Economic Relations. Professor Gulati, thank you so much for joining us. And as I said, I want to try and move beyond the politics to some of the economical rationales behind all of this and what the correct economic measures should be when it comes to Indian agriculture and Indian farmers. So, first of all, can you help us understand the economic rationale behind the MSP itself, the demand that the farmers are making right now? What the farmers are asking for? Is it practical and is it feasible?
Well, basically, for a layperson, they are asking to increase the MSP by about 25 to 30%. That would be, that's the the big thing, right? Now, if you want to go into the details of cost A2 plus FL, cost C2 comprehensive, keep those technical things aside. But basically, they want that MSP should be made legal. That means nobody should be allowed to purchase below that price. So if you and me buy that commodity below that MSP, we can be put behind the bars. You know, that's the legal part of it. It can be that. The second is that MSP should be raised by about 25 to 30%.
So, Professor Gulati, is the long-term solution, then perhaps even the medium-term solution, to try and change the pattern of incentives that are out here, change the cropping patterns, try and incentivize farmers to take other economic decisions that may work out better for them and for the country than just, MSP? And are there other reforms that are necessary?
Sure. You know, basic thing is that their income should increase in a sustainable manner, right? So how do we do that? Either we raise productivity or we allow them to access the best markets in the world, right? That's how the prices go, the market prices. But if you don't allow the markets to function, you suspend futures, you ban exports, you don't allow private sector to hold stocks, then basically what you're doing is you are keeping the prices low for the benefit of consumers at the cost of the farmer. So this is where the problem of the policy is. And you need to move to more investment policy, higher productivity, more of high value crops, livestock, horticulture, fisheries. They will give you 3 times more returns than what you will get in wheat and rice. Okay, so you need to move on to a different package, and that package has to be, brought out both by the center and perhaps the states relevant to it, and together they need to move farmers to a higher income trajectory.
But of course, all of that does require a certain set of reforms. And every time we talk about farm reforms or agriculture reform, there's a major political crisis. Now, when we, for example, heard Prime Minister Modi saying in my 3rd term, you can expect big decisions and big steps. Could this be one of the items that is potentially on the agenda, setting the farm sector right once and for all?
Sure. So as I said, there are 2 parts of this reform. One is making greater investments in agriculture. That is agriculture R&D, more of irrigation, better farming practices. That's one part of the story, and that government can help. That is non-controversial. What was controversial was the marketing reforms. Now, marketing reforms, the narrative was built, oh, this contract farming will lead to takeover by the big business and all those things. Well, the reality is that poultry is growing at 8 to 9% per annum, and it is all driven by contract farming, right? If you are not having trust in the private sector, then you can go the cooperative way, where in the milk system, there is no MSP, but the cooperatives like Amul and others, they have an understanding what the price should be for the farmers and at what price they can sell later on. And so the cooperatives and that new Ministry of Cooperatives, which Mr. Amit Shah is heading, I think can bring in a different type of reforms. If not led by the private sector, it can be led by the cooperatives in fruits and vegetables, in fisheries, in livestock sector, and even these commodities that we are talking. There is another thing. the future is going to be more and more digital commerce, like the Amazons of this world, Flipkarts of this world. But there, the commissions that the seller has to give ranges from 20 to 40%. Now, government is coming up with what is called ONDC, Open Network for Digital Commerce, where the technology provider will charge only 8 to 10% commission, and farmer producer organizations, 10,000 of them are being onboarded on this digital platform. So help those farmer producer organizations to grade their produce, to do first stage processing, to package that properly and onboard on the digital platform so that they get an all India market. Basically, it is access to markets.
Professor Gulati, would I be correct in saying that essentially what you need are comprehensive reforms and a comprehensive relook at the way things are done? Otherwise, knee-jerk reactions are, politically perhaps very attractive, but they can have their own effect. I'm just going to give you one example, drawing of groundwater in Punjab linked to free electricity for farmers in Punjab. Now, that was done for a particular reason, perhaps for a political reason, but look at the consequences, which can go in a number of areas. Those consequences have gone not just from groundwater depletion and a certain cropping pattern, but also to air pollution because of stubble burning. That's what happens when you're not thinking these things through in a comprehensive and in a sustainable manner.
Very right. But you have counted only 1/4 of the problem, only stubble burning. Because of free power and highly subsidized fertilizers, so urea is 90% subsidized, the paddy cultivation in Punjab creates a lot of methane. And then when you apply fertilizer, nitrogen, the plant consumes only 35% of it. Rest is in the environment as nitrous oxide. And nitrous oxide is 273 times the carbon equivalence. And then you have stubble burning and all that. So every hectare of rice in Punjab is producing 5 tons of greenhouse gas emissions. It's an environmental disaster. And they need to be given a new deal for Punjab, which will be 50-50 by Punjab government and the central government to shift away from rice to more high-value products.
Professor Gulati, thank you so much. You've given us a lot to think about, and I promise you in the weeks and months ahead, we should really sit down and have a lot more discussions on a better, more comprehensive, more logical way of approaching some of these issues. Thank you so much for being with us.